All right, what's going on? It's your boy, Mr. Robinson from the MathsoEazy team, and I got my red Yankee on, I got my hoodie on, so I'm ready. So let's get into some old good old education. Okay, if you're watching this video, you probably should have watched my unit rate explained first, and now we're gonna get into some unit rate word problems. We're gonna see how these problems are worded. We're gonna learn what to look out for. We're gonna learn what not to do, and we're just going to go through a whole problem from jump and see how we solve it. Remember, unit rate is per one, trying to find out how much or how fast or how far you could travel for 1 unit, whether that's 1 second, 1 minute, 1 hour, whether it's the cost of one. Remember, per one for everyone means the same thing. All right, so let's go. Let's get it in. Okay, so let's look at this problem here. It says a jogger can run 6 miles in 41 minutes. At this same rate, how far can this jogger run in 1 minute? Okay, let's read it again. Okay, a jogger can run 6 miles in 41 minutes. At this same rate, how far can this jogger run in 1 minute? Okay, now, the first thing you should notice is that I read the problem twice. I always read twice before I calculate, just to see what I got to do. All right, so how do we begin to solve these problems? Okay, the first thing you have to do is recognize what 2 units the problem is expressing. So when I read this first sentence, I see a jogger can run 6 miles in 41 minutes. So now I know I'm dealing with miles and I'm dealing with minutes. So those are my 2 units, all right? So it's telling me, the problem is telling me that a jogger can run 6 miles in 41 minutes. So miles and minutes are my 2 units. Second thing I should recognize, or I should do, I should use this information to set up the left side of a proportion. Now, if you watch my proportion video, then you know that a proportion, they're just two ratios that are set equal to one another. So I'm going to use this info to set up the left side of my proportion. So if it says a jogger can run 6 miles in 41 minutes, I'm going to come down here and I'm going to say, okay, so the jogger runs 6 miles every 41 minutes, and I'll abbreviate minutes, and equal. So now you see I have my left side of my proportion. Now I haven't done any math yet. All I did was use the information given to me in the problem um, to set up my left side of proportion. So the first step was to recognize what 2 units the problem is expressing. This is this is important because you have to have your units in your proportion. It helps you keep everything in order. And then I just use this information to set up the left side of my proportion. So let's go. Let me actually get rid of this first because now we're going to go to step 3. So let me get rid of all this right here. So now let's go to step 3. Step 3 says reread the problem and look for what you don't know. Then it says how far, how many, how fast. Okay, so let me read this problem again. A jogger can run 6 miles in 41 minutes. So at this same rate, how far can this jogger run in 1 minute? Okay, notice it says how far. It's asking me for distance, which means I don't know the distance. So if I come down, I could now begin to set up my right side of my proportion. Now notice I put how far, how many, how fast. Usually after the how, it's going to tell you what you need to calculate. So it says how far. If they're asking me how far, then obviously we don't know. We have to find that out. So how far can this jogger run in 1 minute? And now they gave me the unit they want me to find, my unit rate for. They want to know for 1 minute how far can this jogger run. So my minutes are on bottom. So on my right side, I'm going to keep minutes on bottom. So in 6 miles, Well, in 41 minutes, the jogger can run 6 miles. They want to know in 1 minute how far, which is miles, can the jogger run. I don't know this yet. It's asking me how far. I don't know. See this how? How far? I don't know it. So, in setting up proportions, when we don't know something, we need a variable. So that's going to be my x. So now I have 41 minutes, 6 miles. In 1 minute, how many miles does the jogger travel? All right, let's take it a bit further. Let's get rid of these lines up here. And now we're going to see how we solve this. So now we have our proportion set up, all right? We have 6 miles in 41 minutes, which didn't take much to figure out. We just got that from here from the problem. 6 miles, 41 minutes. So, how many miles does the jogger run in 1 minute? So when we have a proportion to solve for this variable, we want to know what this x is, because this x right here is going to give us our amount of miles. It's going to give us the number of miles. So the first thing we do with a proportion is we cross multiply. I always start with my x first. So x times 4, or 4 times x, is going to give me 4x. Oops, excuse me. And that's going to equal to whatever 6 times 1 is. So 6 times 1 is going to give me 6. Now I have an equation here. All right? I got an equation here. Whenever you cross multiply a proportion, it gives you an equation. You have to set your cross multiples equal to each other. So once again, I'm sorry, 4 times x, which should have been 41 times x. That's 41 minutes, I'm sorry. So that's 41x. So 41x is equal to 6 times 1, which is 6. I have an equation now. So let me rewrite my equation a little neater. I have 41x is equal to 6. So now I have to solve for this variable. I want to know what x is. I don't want to know what 41x is. I want to know what 1x is. So I have to get rid of this 41. In order for me to do that, I have to divide by 41. And whatever I do on one side of my equation, I got to cross the equal sign and do the same thing, divide by 41. Now, why do we divide by 41? We divide by 41 because that's the only way we can get rid of this 41. Remember, we don't want to know what 41x is. We want to know what x alone is. So to get x alone, I divide by 41 because 41 divided by 41 crosses out and gives me 1x is equal to 6 over 41 of a mile. So this is actually my answer, but you may not see this answer. This answer could be in decimal form, okay? So remember, 1x is the same as x. I can easily say, get rid of the 1 and just say x is equal to 6 over 41 miles. So now I could actually plug this answer back into my proportion. Let's get that right. Okay. So now I could actually plug this answer back into my proportion. I can get rid of that. So I know in 6 miles, or in 41 minutes, the jogger runs 6 full miles. But in 1 minute, the jogger only runs 6 over 41 miles. And this is my answer. That's how I solve the proportion method to find out my missing value for the miles. Now I have a unit rate. The problem gave me for 41 minutes up here, but they wanted to know how far the jogger can run in 1 minute. This is the unit rate. So I set up my proportion. I got my information right here, 6 miles in 41 minutes, set up my left side, and then it said at this same rate, how far, how far, how far can this jogger run in 1 minute? So my minutes are on bottom here, so I got to keep my minutes on bottom on this side of the proportion. So in 1 minute, the jogger runs 6 over 41 miles, which is not even a full mile. And that's pretty much it. The Math So Easy team is in the building. You have just learned how to solve a unit rate problem using the information in the problem and looking for what they're asking for. Look at this video again, look at it again, and look at it again because the process doesn't change. The only thing that changes is the numbers in the problems. Sometimes they have fractions, sometimes they have decimals, but the process is the same. Use the information that the problem gives you, set up your left side, look for what you need in the problem, set up your right side, get your variable, cross multiply, you get an equation, and then solve for the variable. It doesn't get any simpler than that. You just have to practice. It's your boy, Mr. Robinson, Math So Easy team. I'm out here. Peace.